I'm Ellie Nimeroski and I play violin with B-Rock. I moved to Ghent in 2015 to embark on a PhD in artistic research at the Orpheus Institute and the University of Leuven. And it's a project about my experience building a violin bow. I worked with historical bowmaker Bruno Spork to build a copy of a 1785 Tourt model bow. And I used the perspective that I gained in working with him, as well as my perspective as a violinist, to think about the most important, the most significant meeting that took place in the history of the evolution of the bow. And it was between the maker, François-Xavier Tourt, and the violinist, Viotti. It took place in Paris in the 1780s. I grew up in Canada. We lived in some of the far reaches of Canada's Great Space. My family lived in Fort Smith, which is in the Northwest Territories, which is near Yellowknife. When I say it's near Yellowknife, I mean that it's about a 12-hour drive around the Great Slave Lake through the wilderness to get to Yellowknife. We moved to Hinton, Alberta, and after that to Newfoundland, which is a breathtakingly beautiful place. I started playing the violin when we were living in Hinton, and it was through a children's group, a beloved Canadian children's group called Sharon, Lois and Bram. And so in my memory, that's where I first saw the violin and got really interested in it. And apparently I was really persistent in asking for violin lessons. And in most of Canada, we don't have the same structure of music academies and conservatories as here in Europe. So it was a matter of finding a private teacher, and my parents managed to rent me a violin in Edmonton and then enroll me in lessons with a teacher in Hinton, whose name, if you can believe it, was Mrs. Bow. Field music is by Emily Doolittle, and Emily is a composer originally from Canada, who's now living in Glasgow. The reason I love the piece is because I feel that it is inhabited by the wind, and that's why it spoke to me. And a field is, of course, a very big and still space, but as you get close to a field, or as you go into the field, a field is full of movement. And I guess in the field you might have insects, or the sound of moving grass, or maybe field mice. I think field music has probably something of the open spaces that I know from when I was young, that were part of my life. Of course, we didn't call them big open spaces when I was young. It was just how the world was, or where I lived. So I think there's something about maybe the great outdoors, or the peacefulness, or the loneliness of it that I appreciate.